If you learned that 20 million Americans had been victims of a crime, you would consider that a public safety crisis.
And if the emotional and psychological effects of those crimes meant that 20 million Americans needed long-term professional care, you would consider that a public health crisis.
Well, we have such a crisis, and it's been hiding in plain sight for far too long.
Sexual assault.
All Americans agree that whenever someone is physically attacked, a crime has been committed.
The attacker deserves punishment, and the victim deserves justice, not to mention whatever help is necessary for the healing process.
This is not a political issue. It's just common sense.
The stark truth is that sexual assault is pervasive.
1 in 3 women
And 1 in 6 men
will be sexually assaulted at some point in their lifetimes.
A recent study highlighted the horrors women face on college campuses, showing a 15% increase of reported campus assaults on the day of its football team's away game.
That number jumps to a staggering 41% for home games.
And let's not forget that only about 35% of sexual assaults are ever reported.
Of course, women aren't the only victims of this epidemic, as we saw in the Pennsylvania grand jury investigation that exposed the sexual assault of thousands of children by the hands of hundreds of Catholic priests.
All of these assaults are intertwined. While it may be hard to see how the rape of an 8-year-old boy by a priest is related to the sexual attack of an actress in Hollywood, they are two symptoms of the same disease.
America suffers from a cultural undercurrent that permits and protects the worst instincts and behaviors of misogynists and sexual predators, and our public response has been totally unacceptable.
And those who profit the most from the status quo would rather see us bicker about how best to protect those committing these crimes than standing with survivors.
We need a response that addresses the traumatic, lifelong effects,
physical and emotional,
that have left millions of Americans struggling.
If 20 million people caught a preventable disease, we would treat it as an epidemic.
We would mobilize local, state, and federal resources to treat the symptoms and address the root cause to prevent it from spreading further.
Why should sexual assault be any different?
Here are some steps we should immediately take.
1, listen to survivors and their advocates. Showing that we believe is crucial to helping others come forward.
Thanks to the Me Too movement, we've made important strides, but some of our media and many politicians continue to minimize and belittle survivors, putting them on trial instead of their abusers.
2, pass meaningful legislation. Here we have serious work to do.
As can be seen when the Pennsylvania Senate refused to pass reforms unanimously recommended by the grand jury investigation into Catholic Church clergy abuse.
And 3, prevent institutions from putting their reputations over the needs of survivors. Passing stronger laws will help hold them accountable, but they have to change their internal culture as well.
We share reason to be hopeful. Americans, especially women, are standing up and saying enough.
And through our actions, we hope to show survivors that they can speak out without being victimized again.
Now, it's on our leaders to listen and legislate.
To protect victims, to bring predators to justice.
And to stop the scourge of this public health and public safety crisis.